Okay. So Michelle Ngome of
Yeah.
the African American Marketing Association, creator of Marketing for the Culture Summit and the Be Inclusive card, this revolutionary. We got to talk about that too. It wasn't on the list. Uh, Thank you for hanging out with me today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
So tell me, well, as is we were just talking about, there's no real agenda. There's a little bit of an agenda, but there's no structure to this call. Uh, Tell me something interesting going on with you right now.
Uh, interesting. I'm
Whatever that means to you.
right. Just trying to keep my hair in. Planning this event is it's a very interesting process.
It's not working for me. Like,
It costs money to keep these locks in.
it's
You
working
know
for you.
what? I'm glad we're having this conversation. I think marketing is in an interesting landscape right now. I feel like all of these companies are looking for unicorns,
Mm,
and I feel like I'm not a unicorn, and I'm getting old, and I'm at a crossroads through this midlife marketing crisis. And that's probably what I want to discuss today.
well, it's super interesting that you say that because I hadn't said this out loud, but I think I'm on right now, currently in the middle of my fourth midlife crisis. Uh, I'm much older than I appear to be. No,
Right. Right.
I think I'm older than you, but yeah, I mean, I feel like kind of the same thing. So I'm glad this would be a perfect time to talk about how you're seeing the landscape, how you're navigating it, how you're advising others to navigate it, and then I'll share my thoughts as well.
Yeah, I think one, I've been looking for a job. So I have my own business, right? Line 25 Consulting,
Right?
marketing strategy, diversity marketing. Been in business for 10 years. I have the association, which is a nonprofit that's been going on for 4 years. So
Wow.
I will have a wealth of experience, especially as a consultant, because you're working with multiple teams, industries, all this kind of stuff.
Right.
And I started looking for a job last July. And at that time, I thought I was starting early. I was good. I had clients. I had money in my account. I thought I had time. I was like, I'm going to find a job in 3 months. Like, I was interviewing 3 to 5 companies at a time. I was like, surely one of these companies are going to give me an offer. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
We're almost a year later. So it's like, I don't know how many times I gotta change this resume. I don't even know what's the truth on my resume. And and then my friend's like, well, run it through Chat GPT. And I was like, that may be even more of a lie. So
Listen, you are not wrong about that.
but so with that being said, especially when it comes to, and I'm saying interviews, like these are full-fledged companies, brand, agency, corporate, whatever. And then even in other projects, other like, hey, I have an agency, but I see you do this. I want to collaborate. I'm still going through those interviews and proposals as well. And
Mm,
it's just been tough. But I would say when it comes to the corporations, um, everyone is looking for a marketing unicorn, aka graphic design skills.
mm,
Everyone's looking for a designer. And it's interesting that we're talking about this because in the past month, I've had two college age students reach out to me. Like, they stumbled across the association, and I'm like, look, go learn Adobe.
yeah.
Don't be like me. I literally tried to learn Adobe 10 years ago. And it's not my thing. And I know that.
Yeah.
But I'm telling these kids, go learn Adobe, go learn graphic design because everyone is looking for that. They say Canva, they lying.
Nah, Canva's cool for you and me. Uh, but the real people are looking for real designs
Mm-hmm.
to create real visual campaigns and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. Canva just can't cut it. Even if you
Yeah.
got Pro, it can't
Yeah.
cut it.
Yeah. And even with the designer, you have to be tricky with that. Like I love my graphic designer, Lee Coleman, been working with him a couple of years. But he doesn't do motion graphics,
Mm.
right? So then I'm like, okay, well, do I really need it? I got to find someone else that's more money. But yeah, I'm telling all of these students or people that are getting into marketing, regardless of the age, learn graphic design, learn Adobe Suite, and then from there, get into video. If you're multimedia, get into that because I feel like it's like when you're doing your budgets, it's like a byline
Oh
for the
yeah,
job description.
yeah, yeah.
Familiar with Adobe Suite.
Crumble that one up again because I took in high school, which is how that's a long time ago. There was a Photoshop component. I think it was just technology education, but as you
Mm,
can imagine, that was in the late '90s. Technology in the '90s. I also learned Excel in high school. I don't know how to use that anymore either. So it's anyone who asks for those skills. I've been saying it long enough. I only know how to do two things in my whole life. Adobe's not one of them. Excel's not one of them.
yeah.
So right, for gigs that you want to include me, you had to hire two people because I can't do it.
Yeah. And I think what disappoints me though is with once again, I'm talking about companies, corporate, um, multi-million dollar, I don't care if they're private or public. Some of these companies, they'll have north of 200 employees and they'll have one person on the marketing team. And I'm like, this is why you're looking for a unicorn,
Yeah,
right? Or they'll have an agency for certain one agency for it. And I'm like, this is like you need to develop the marketing team,
yes,
and I did an interview a couple of weeks ago with an engineering company, very successful company here in Houston, maybe throughout Texas. Um, it said marketing coordinator. Now, some people are like, well, that's below. And I'm like, well, the pay was okay, right?
sure.
And it was 15 minutes from my house. So, yeah, right. But I go into the interview and what they're looking for, and I may be out of touch because I'm not familiar with this industry, but they were literally looking for someone to do proposals, government proposals, find the proposals, put the documents together, design and submit the proposal. Obviously, you'll be working with the project manager through that process. But once again, the title said marketing coordinator. So I think there's another thing where marketing is becoming so broad and
Sure.
appealing, and maybe these companies are misusing some of the marketing titles. And it's like, great interview, great conversation, but I am not your person, right? And as much as I need a job, it's not a good fit. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm a quick learner, but do I really want to learn this?
Well, at least I mean that's a responsible approach from you because a lot of people. I actually had a very seasoned copywriter tell me that was the secret to her success. Just say yes and hope that you can figure it out. Oh yeah, I know how to write about nuclear reactors. Sure, I'm a registered neuroscientist. I know all about neurons and
Adams.
I was like, oh, okay, all right, good. You get the check and then you figure it out. And there's maybe some some element of that's true, but you're gonna get on somebody's payroll
Right.
and take up a position, and you know that this is something that's going to be a struggle for you and a learning process, and then the company's expectation of you, you're not going to be able to meet it, and so you're setting
Mhm.
yourself up to be an underperformer there. Not ideal. Even
Right.
if you could get a few paychecks out of it, it's just not a good look.
It's not worth it. And it's embarrassing because then it's like, 6 weeks later, your family and friends. So why did you get fired? Well,
Because Chat GPT lied on my resume.
Right. But I want to say with that company, I forgot how many employees they had. I think 300 employees. They
Okay.
said 30 people in the marketing team.
Oh,
And they had, I want to say 11 people graphic design,
oh wow.
but they still wanted that coordinator to do the design for the proposal. So it's wild out here.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen it. I talked with this was like last week, a publisher, and they have they're trying. It's kind of the same situation. They're using not so much in terms of what they need someone to be a designer, but they're expecting one person to do the work, which we would normally give to six people.
Mhm.
uh,
Mhm.
and they're kind of utilizing contractors,
Mhm.
but expecting contractors to do the work as if they're internal. It's very like I just think that it's everyone is kind of maybe I shouldn't say everyone, but there's a lot of I don't even know the right word. There's just a lot of people trying to figure out what works in today's world in terms of because also the hiring or the job market itself is just weird.
Yeah.
No, I keep hearing nobody wants to work. That's not true. That's not true at
I'm
all.
right here. Cut the check. Well, I
Right
mean,
here.
make the
Uh,
offer, cut the check.
by the way, Michelle's email address will be in the description here.
I need a cardboard board. I need to get one of those Amazon boxes and be like,
Will work for $100,000.
right, right, at home.
Right, with full benefits and 4 weeks of paid vacation. Yeah, but I mean it's different, and I think there's the idea of I always I came up and I don't remember how I picked this up, but thinking if I specialize and get really great at one thing, that's the game. Because if you try to do everything, you can't really be as great as you could be, and just focus on your strengths. And now there's definitely
Mhm.
the what people are looking for, what hiring managers and corporations are looking for, is the unicorn. You
Yeah.
need to be able to write copy, and also have design skills. If you know HTML, that'd be great. And
Ads. Don't forget Facebook, Google ads.
right, if you're familiar with those, and it's a lot. And that you're right. That's kind of the direction that I think a lot of hiring is going across the board, across industries.
Mhm.
It's just different.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting place right now. I have no idea what's going to happen, not just for me, but obviously being over an association and once again always having these conversations. Just last week I was talking to two HR people. They actually work from home, but the company's based in, I think, Redwood or Red Hills, California.
Okay.
And one role was they're looking for some type of corporate marketing writer. And I told them, like, the first thing is the location says the city. And they're like, well, if you read all the way through, it says remote. And I'm like, yeah, but we're in this 3-second society. People are scrolling, and if you're nowhere near California, you're just gonna go back to Indeed or whatever and keep looking for a job.
It's absolutely critical for anyone who's looking that you list that like it'll say in the description or in the
Mhm.
location. If you put a location, but like you had to read the full thing. Why would I read the full thing to find out?
And that's the thing. And then she started talking to me about the software, the limitations of the software and trying to make their job descriptions, I guess, neutral, unbiased, or whatever, inclusive language and stuff
Okay.
like that, as well as the location. But it was interesting to have that conversation versus the assumption. It's like, yes, we do have software, but our software is limited. We have to fill this part out. And
Mm.
I think sometimes I'm only privileged to have this conversation because I'm over the association. and not just another candidate, scraping. Well, that too, but But
Hey,
like, how many people know that? Unless you're with the company or even the industry, how many people know that? And she was like, "Look, keep applying, because you just never know. Different, even if it's the same company, there's multiple recruiters hiring for different things.
sure.
Maybe this recruiter wasn't successful, and then this job description went to another recruiter who's responsible and maybe more diligent in the process." She's like, "You never know what's going behind the scenes." And I was like, "That's interesting, because I have been that person. Oh, I applied to that company 3 years ago. I refuse."
Yeah.
Put another application in.
Hey, that's real.
And it was like, so I've been shooting myself in the foot.
Maybe.
you know. But it was a very insightful conversation, and it's one of those things. I mean, we hear it all the time, more on a personal level, like give yourself grace, give people grace.
Yeah.
And I guess that's true. I mean, you don't know what these companies are going through and how they're shuffling roles, people. But I'll go back to last year, when I first started interviewing, and I had those 5 interviews. And I know one company, I literally made it to, I think, 2 out of 3 interviews, and they just got rid of the job description. They got rid of the role altogether. They're like, "Oh, we're going to go in a different direction."
What?
And that was for like a marketing project manager for they make beauty products. They make wave caps
Oh,
and
nice.
stuff. Yeah, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be pretty cool,"
Yeah.
down the street, like, "Hey, let's get a pop black owned business." So
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah. Oh, we're gonna get rid of. And then on the other end of that, I gotta say, schedule these interviews, recruiters, agent, staffing agency, or directly with the company. A lot of managers won't show up on the call. They show up late. I
Yeah.
had one manager, we had a virtual meeting, and she worked from home. So she decided to walk her dog right before our interview. So she wasn't on camera. And then when she got on camera, she was in a tank top. And we had 5 minutes left. And and then once again, I was good last year. So this is with the Zero, the accounting company,
Okay. Yeah.
and all the business
Yeah.
out there, right? Because I wanted to put it on Twitter, but I was like, no, I'm still in the process now. I don't care, right? So so we had the interview, and it was like, well, if you have any questions, please send me an email. Sent the follow-up email, like, hey, really enjoy da 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 da. Had some questions.
Enjoyed walking your dogs with you.
Never got a response, right? Which was a turnoff. And then I got the letter, the email saying, "Oh, we're not going to hire you." It was like, okay. It was like, okay, whatever. And then they sent out a survey on how was the interview, and I went off. Let me tell you about your manager.
Mm-mm.
And I was like, y'all need to know. You need to know what's going on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because even if I'm not a good fit, you still don't show up your best.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's really interesting. I haven't heard anything. Although, I mean, you hear about those things uh, on on Twitter, right? Somebody will put all the business out there. But I've definitely had, and not with corporations, but with entrepreneurs, like they own their own business.
Mm.
They want to talk to me. I had a conversation with one who, and we've actually been working together for a long time. But our initial conversation, she was in the grocery store or something, and and she was like, "Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You do? I don't think that you heard what I said. I don't. You're like
Of course not.
choosing between tuna brands. I don't know." And then like, no one ever says to me. It's like.
Like $1 million.
Yeah, it's gonna be $1 million.
In
Sounds
the
good.
contract.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna send a follow-up email after this to make sure that we're on the same, which I did, make sure we're on the same page.
Right.
And it turns out that I understood what needed to be done well enough. And it turned out fine. But I mean, it's just an interesting scenario. But as a manager, like, this is your job. Like, you run your own business, you get to do whatever you want, whatever. Like, it may not be the most professional thing, but you're running your business because that's the point. I want to be able to do what I want to do whenever I want to do it. As a manager, you're representing the company.
But even as a business owner, I think eventually we have to step out of that mindset as well. Like,
I
if we're
agree.
going to grow. Like, I remember this was several years ago. I was trying to hire an assistant for Line 25, and I put a job posting on Indeed and da 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 da. And there are certain tasks. So, one, I believe in doing revenue generating activities in the morning. I guess this is going to be the one nugget during the show. But so, revenue generating activities in the morning, and then random non priority emails at night because I'm always working. So, I'm going over these applications and candidates on Indeed, and I'm just hitting automatic messages like not interested or whatever it said.
Yeah.
And this one guy responded to me. He's like, "You can't be a real CEO if you're sending emails at 11 p.m. at night." And I'm like, "That's why I need an assistant."
You don't get it.
But that always stood with me because it's like, how am I representing the company, right?
Yeah.
And then I got to the point where I only send emails during the day, like during appropriate hours, because it's like, man, okay, does she sleep? She's work. What does that look like? So it's interesting. I feel like if you want to grow, you have to get out of that mindset. And then Pinky Cole did a really good interview this past week with David Shands, a Social Proof podcast. And she kind of touched on that a little bit. And she was like, obviously she's the CEO, right? What she says goes. But she's hired people to help run her business. And she has to respect their boundaries. Because if she's always overriding them, nothing's going to get done. Or worse, your employees are going to be confused and they're not going to respect their direct manager. So I think it's an interesting path when you're leveling up and growing your business.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. A great point. I'm sure there'd be more nuggets than just that. But I mean, but you're right. You're right. Revenue generated activities in the morning before you get disheveled by the insanity of the day. That's very good.
Right.
It's an important one. And I work all day too. You already know. Work all day. I used to care enough to schedule my emails for the morning, but now I just send them whenever. It's 4 a.m, whatever. 3 a.m, doesn't matter.
You're gonna get what you're gonna get.
If I schedule it, but I've also scheduled emails to go out and they don't go out.
I used to. I've stopped.
And I don't always do what I intend to do. So if I say, okay, I'll put it in drafts, and then set an alarm for 9 o'clock. Okay, go in there and send the drafts. Then at 9 o'clock, the dog needs walking or something.
That's what I said, minute by minute.
That's it. That's it. So I'm sending it this minute. The work is done. Here you go.
Right.
And it's in a Google Doc, so it may not actually be done, but it's like,
You get the
I'm
idea.
gonna go in there and tweak some stuff. But this communication is had by the time you wake up, because I know most people are regular. They're not working at 4 in the morning. Anyway, those are good good points. I'm trying to get better at not working all night because I'm getting old.
Yeah, it's definitely the season that I'm in. I mean, this conference is flaring up my levels of anxiety that sometimes I didn't know I had. And then, I understand it's a season, so I don't get too, I guess, anal about that part. But yeah.
Okay. Well, you brought up the summit. You want to talk about that?
The Marketing for the Culture Summit, curated by the African American Marketing Association. I guess we can say second annual.
Yes.
Second annual?
Yes.
Not first annual. Bad copywriting.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm really happy. Excuse me. Last year was in Atlanta, so this year's in Houston. May 31st, Wednesday, May 31st to Friday, June 2nd. So Wednesday, we're going to start off with the kickoff reception, just a good happy hour networking. And then Thursday, all day event. We're going to discuss everything from ChatGPT, Facebook ads with Stacy Reed, ChatGPT with Kayla Life, podcasting with Steve Worthy. We have a PR and marketing panel. I'm local, my money's global e-commerce panel. We have growth marketing strategies panel, supplier diversity panel. I think this was a good idea to kind of talk about, well, HP is sponsoring, right? So it's
Yeah,
a
that's
big
huge.
corporate, yeah, huge sponsor. And I thought this was a good time to be like, okay, I'm a marketing agency, but how do I position myself to work with corporate brands such as HP and, et cetera. And excuse me. And then we're going to have Tiffany Williams on the panel. She has a video production company, and she has her certifications, and talk about, okay, I'm a marketer, or I'm in marketing. And once I got these certifications, I got access, tapped into the network, got access to these businesses. This is how my business has grown. So we're going to have different people coming in and different perspectives on that. And
Yeah,
what
Tiffany's
else?
worked with some big companies.
Yeah. Yeah. She's killing it. Oh, HP's going to keynote.
That's right.
Yeah, HP is going to keynote. So we're going to really talk about their initiatives behind particularly Black marketers, Black marketing agencies, technology, latest trends, things that they're doing within the company from a hardware and even software standpoint. I think one thing that has impressed me with HP and the marketing team that I've been working with, they've been there for a long time. Like Tara Agan, she's the one who decided to come in and back AAMA.
Okay.
She's been with the company for like 30 years.
Wow.
And then we have Danielle Jones, who's going to keynote. I think she's been with the company 10 plus years. And there's other people. And I was like, this is what we really need to talk about. Like,
Yeah.
yes, business. We need to talk about business, but also we got career professionals. So it's like, how do you keep that longevity with one company?
That's my ground. I mean, that's huge because there's not a lot of that happening these days.
It's not. It's
And
not.
and it feels like a trend away from that. I've heard people preach against that. Like these co's ain't loyal.
They're not. They're not.
But they can be.
And I think sometimes I do think it depends on the size of the company as well. And because I do think the bigger the company, the more you can move around for whatever reason, right?
Yeah.
Just overall career opportunities. It's like, okay, well, I'm not feeling this. Hey, can you vouch for me and I can come to your department? And that's something that I've never had in my career. I do think, I'm assuming, I don't know if that's their personal stories, but I mean, HP is huge.
It's huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
And I think they were in California before. I can't really remember, but in 2019, they kind of moved back to Houston. So they're in Spring, Texas, which is 45 minutes to an hour from downtown Houston.
Yeah.
So obviously they're hiring. I think they're trying to make a presence here. Kind of, once again, I have a marketing contact, so they're doing things with us as well as AAMA Houston. So I think they're really trying to make their input back in Houston, obviously post COVID as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have two things I want to say about that. Number one, if they're hiring,
they are.
hi, I'm Michelle Ngome.
You know what? I need to. So it's interesting you say that because I applied to some roles earlier this year. And I think it was right before I met them so now I'm like, okay, how do I work this contact?
Yeah, like I just ask. Maybe I don't know. I'm not one of those people who understands how to navigate corporate like that. But ask the people like I put on an application. I wonder
what happened
in terms of like, is there any way we can resurrect this thing?
You know what? To be honest with you, Donnie, my friend, a couple of people have had this conversation with me this week. And my biggest thing is it a conflict of interest? that's my biggest concern, or the biggest thing on my mind. And obviously that, that there should be a conversation with that as well. Um, Maybe it won't be a problem right now because the money's already been issued, but I'm like, I want y'all to sponsor next year. I want you to give y'all first right of refusal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, let's
So it's like,
let's get that
you
part
know,
figured out.
can you put me on, but not with your department? But yeah, that's definitely a concern. And that's probably why I haven't leveraged. I mean, also it's a new contact, so I want to be courteous as well. But that's definitely a concern.
Gotcha. That makes sense. The other point I was going to make is just, and you made it, but I'm going to call it out. Inside these big companies, many of the departments are almost like their own companies, like
Mm-hmm.
within the company. So a lot of times it's like what you said. If you apply for a particular role, it's in a particular department. No other department may even ever see that.
Right.
And so, and doing another application goes to a whole different process.
Right.
And that's why you got to keep applying, I guess. But once you get inside, like you said, also that gives you potential opportunities to change departments and not leave the company, but just grow where the opportunities are to grow inside the company. So that's something to think about.
And I want to say universal. But it's a worldwide company. Like, Latin America, Europe, like sky's the limit when you get into organizations like that.
The computer I'm using right now is HP, by the way. So shout out to HP. They're not sponsoring this episode. They can, they want to.
Yeah, right. Let me send this clip over.
Send me $20.
Yeah.
But seriously, I mean, it's a great company. And I didn't realize, I guess everyone now, or not everyone, but many people now are making an effort to diversify or show that they're advocates in our community, which is great.
Yeah, I do want to say this. I have spoken to other companies, major companies. It's been tough. And I'm like, if it's a no, just say no. And I think, especially when it comes to us, once again, we're a 4-year organization. We're not a legacy organization like NAACP or the Urban League. So I really believe anytime someone donates $1, like they've done their homework. They're like, oh, I'm a marketer and I want my money to go here. Versus, oh, the Urban League and top of the search or whatever.
Sure.
And nothing's wrong with that, right? We all need money to survive. But I think HP is really about alignment, right? Because I was talking to another company and it's like, I don't know if you're the right demographic. And I don't know. And so it was literally 99 no's and HP being the one yes. And I was like, oh, we're having a whole conference because of you.
Wow.
And I sent them our sponsorship deck. They didn't want me to change anything. It was like, can we come in as a title sponsor? And I was like, absolutely. Right. Whereas other people, there's like, oh, well, we need this, we need that. And I'm like, it's out of our wheelhouse. It's like we don't have the capacity to perform or guarantee you, some of these things.
Yeah.
And when I look back, I do think HP is the perfect sponsor, especially at this moment, because it is a consumer product. Yeah. And when we think about marketers, creatives, content creators, they need a laptop. I'm on an HP.
Yep.
That I bought 3 years ago.
Yep.
And I'm probably going to buy another one. And I've been using their products off and on for several years. Yep. And I do think it's something that, leaving if not now, but definitely leaving the conference, they will be top of mind when someone needs to buy another gadget or device.
Yeah.
And maybe not some of the other sponsors I thought I was going to be able to woo.
Yeah.
Because we had a relationship.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And these are, as you said, universal. Any creative, any marketing professional, we need the kind of stuff that they produce. And we can get it where we are. It's not some weird, you had to go through some weird process to get it. It's at your Best Buy, it's at your Walmart, it's at your Staples, your whoever else is out there.
Yeah.
And you can buy it on Amazon or buy it from them directly. So you're right. Yeah, and I've been on HP for a minute. My last 2 laptops, I think, were HPs, and my wife's last 2 are HPs as well.
It makes sense. It
It's a
just
great
makes
product.
sense.
And
Yeah,
you can't play around with things that are iffy.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
cool.
okay. So what else? Oh, so
Yeah,
Friday we have the VIP brunch at Davis Street, which I think it's a 5-star restaurant, but I ain't never been nowhere, so it's the best restaurant I've been to. No,
there you
but
go.
Davis Street, I would definitely say it's a fine dining, Black-owned establishment. We're gonna have VIP brunch, and this is just another chance to have some more networking, high-level, intimate networking with the speakers, sponsors, and VIP attendees. And then we're going to have Joseph Williams, who's the director of PR at Stars, as our
Yeah,
speaker fireside chat style.
that's gonna be
And
a lot of fun.
and he's had a great career journey that I actually know him personally, but I've been able to watch his career journey for the past couple of years, and he's made great strides. And we're going to talk about all of the things marketing PR when it comes into creating a successful campaign, especially for several hit shows. So it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, that sounds like a great time. Number one, you've been a lot of places. Don't lie. You be
I
speaking.
have.
You be speaking all over the place. Every time I look up, oh, I'm speaking at this event. I'm speaking at this event.
Yeah.
So you you probably eating at dozens of 5-star restaurants. But I mean, that sounds really cool. I've never been to Houston. I'm trying to work my schedule to get down there.
Yeah. But I think, we got to keep in mind Black owned as well, in Houston, particularly. So I'm
That's,
glad we were able to work that out with them.
that's significant. What's the name again?
Davis Street. Davis
Davis
Street.
Street.
Yeah.
You can
And,
also sponsor this show if you like. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
right. Right. Oh, we're gonna have the whole restaurant, so it's
Oh,
gonna
for
be
real? But how
private.
many VIP tickets are you selling?
25.
Is it limited to 25?
Yeah, 25. Yeah. So general admission tickets are 199. So that's gonna give you access to the conference day, and the VIP tickets are $500. So obviously you get the conference day. During that day, you'll get a really dope swag bag, so you can get a backpack with all of these goodies, branded material, conference t-shirt, things of that nature. We're also going to have a VIP lounge. It's going to be VIP speakers and sponsors. So once again, trying to create that intimate networking, high level networking. Um, and this is something I'm kind of proud of. I've never seen it done. And I love going to conferences. If you buy a VIP ticket, your name will be listed in the conference booklet. Right.
Yeah.
So trying to give people that exposure. And at the same time, one thing I'm thinking about is during our lunch, having all of the VIP people introduce themselves and their business and what they do. Um, and then, of course, the brunch the day after.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be pretty cool if everybody gets 2 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting because it's a summit. So we're expecting 150 people. It's still intimate. We have breakout sessions in the morning. So we're going to occupy 2 different rooms. But for the panels, everyone's going to be in the auditorium. So I think it's just going to be, once again, good exposure for people if you value that in your life right now. Excuse me. But, like you said, I've done a lot of speaking. I've been very grateful for those opportunities. But being on this other side, yes, VIP has its privileges. But being on this other side of creating events, whew,
Man.
and trying to figure out what makes you different or what's going to make you different. I'm like, okay. And then lots of times they have to take me out of it, right? Obviously, we're going to have separate VIP registration and that should go by quicker. But then I'm like, does everyone want to sit in the front of the event? Like usually like VIP, you front row. Does everyone want to be front row? I don't know.
That's a great point. That's a great point. It's a great point because the cool kids often like to sit the back. And some people, depending on your personality, you want to just like be in the middle and kind of low key.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Maybe you have like preferred seating, like you get to be the first people to pick your seats. You don't have to sit in front if you don't want to.
Yeah, and it's just, I think about those things because you see everyone else doing, and it's like, is that really a benefit? And lots of times people just want to be in the room.
Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Well, look, this is I shouldn't say this. Somebody will be mad at me. A big conversation that we're both
Mhm.
aware of. They had a big event recently. VIP seating took up 50% of the room.
Oh, wow.
So being a VIP, you could still be in the middle of the room. If you haven't
Wow.
heard the story, maybe I'll tell you, but not on air. I'm not
I
gonna
don't
do
know if
that.
that's impressive or not.
It's good for the people putting on the event, but
Right.
the people who paid for VIP and found themselves middle of the room, and actually one person who I talked to didn't even get a chair, didn't even get a table, had to sit in like a chair on the side or something. Anyway, that's just because of high demand for the room, and they
Mhm.
didn't limit who anyone can get VIP if they want to, I guess. Actually, I don't know exactly all the details, but in any case, VIP doesn't sitting in the front room isn't always the flex that it maybe is presented as.
Mhm.
But also you gotta curate the experience so that when you,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's sad. I think I talked to 3 people. This is really bad. Who said I should not have paid for VIP.
Wow.
There's no upside to it from my experience. So what you're doing, limiting the number of things and thinking about um, how do I make this special for my attendees is really special, and it's important. I think people are also, a lot of people go to conferences, go to a lot of conferences.
Mhm.
So if you can bring something that's different, I've never been to an event where you pay for VIP, you get a chance to go and talk, present yourself in front of the room, or even be like you said, to be in the book. I've never seen that. So
Yeah.
it's really that's
Yeah.
valuable.
It's yeah. I'm gonna say this. I feel high levels of anxiety, but I feel really good. At like I'm like, oh, it's gonna be lit. Obviously once we hit these ticket sales, but yeah, it's gonna be lit. But I do want to say this because I just feel like running my mouth this morning. You caught me at a good time. I got
Good.
enough sleep. Um, to all of the conference goers, and me included, right? You have to buy your tickets within a reasonable time. I don't know if this is a Black thing or just a people thing. Waiting until the last minute, it puts the event organizer in a frenzy, right? And even with the vendors I'm working with, they're like, "Oh, you have time. Oh, you have time." And I'm like, "No, you think everything starts on May 31st. No, it doesn't. Everything starts now, right? Everything starts when I give you this deadline."
Yes.
And I think what people fail to realize is the organizer needs certain things on a certain time because one, this person has to hand it off to their team. I have to get if you're a sponsor, I have to get your logo into the designer because he needs the design. And then whatever the design may be, it may need to be printed. May need to get items mailed to us, um, in preparation for the first day of the event.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I'll just give it to you on May 29th. And it's like, no, I need this on May 5th. Like, what is happening right now? Right.
I mean,
And
right. You
and
do
then I'm
realize
like,
we're not printing these things up on an HP printer as they come in the door.
and then and I'm like, we're all professionals. Like, we don't know about workflows. We don't know about projects. We don't moving pieces. So it's very interesting how, and I know we're all busy. I know we're all busy, but it's like, okay. So that's one. And then the second thing is the food, right? So got a quote for food, and the woman's like, oh, we need your head count 30 days before the event.
Mm.
Well, that's next week.
Oh boy.
And based off of the current hit count, maybe 2 dozen people are going to eat. And I know those other 100 people are going to be really upset. And that's because, not enough tickets have sold. And it's a couple of different things with that. In Eventbrite, they'll notice like, well, usually your past attendees buy your tickets in this period, all of the analytics stuff.
Sure.
But it's like, no, we have to gauge. Yes, we want 150 people there. We want to sell 100 tickets, right? But we have to gauge, okay, how many items are we going to order? How many people are we going to feed? And all of this stuff, it costs per person,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So there's a big difference between 75 to 150 people. Like I can save thousands of dollars. There's only 75 people there. But now I would love for more people to be there, right? But I also know if 75 people buy their ticket on May 1st and we're short 100, we're short of food, you know how we talk about each other,
Yes.
it's going to be over.
Yes.
So we have to do a better job when it comes to buying tickets for events.
You know what's wild? Food scares me.
Thank you, DR. Thank you.
Tech. Thank you for hanging out with us. For real. Food scares me. I don't think I've told you this story, but this happened twice. Oh man, this happened to me twice. At least twice, but twice that come to mind. First time at a wedding at my church. My cousin was getting married. And we had the reception in the back of the church. We had a little area back there. And someone didn't like the order in which the food was being handed out. And a fist fight broke out at the wedding reception in the church. So that had to be cleared out. And then to go to the next level, on the next morning, some of the people in the fight showed up at the place where the couple was and said, "Bring Jesse out here. We're going to kill him." They didn't kill him, but it got, okay, now we got to call the cops. Anyway, over food and family. Now, this one's even better. At a wedding at my house.
At the church.
No, look, the second was at my house, a wedding at my house. Because we moved from this house, we had a massive backyard. And I shouldn't probably even say this publicly, but my youngest brother, he wanted to have the wedding there. We're on a budget, whatever. And so we use our yard, and we got all this stuff. And once again, we had the reception in our house. We had a big house too, and it's small. There's 30 people, whatever. And they didn't like how the food was being handed out. We had food now, but like, how come you giving him food before my kids? My kid's hungry. And there's a fist fight in my living room that turned into a knife fight in my front yard that turned into me having to wrestle somebody with a pistol.
Oh my gosh.
And the police came and arrested 2 people. It was bad. Or food. So food terrifies me. If I ever have an event, y'all gonna do lunch on your own. Y'all do lunch on your own.
I'm like, look, y'all lucky HP sponsoring, because y'all gonna have these P&J peanut butter from my kitchen in my apartment. Not even catered. Like, you had a plastic bag like you were in grade school.
You get 4 pretzels.
But no, like we don't. Yeah, you can't play around food. And then honestly, I'm one of those people. I really believe you have to take care of people.
Yeah.
Right. You have to take care of people. And I'm like, I can't. And we're still a small conference, right?
I'm telling you, that's not going to be for long though.
Right. So we don't. I think if we had like thousands or maybe more than 500 people, maybe I'd be like, okay, this is where everyone's getting a turkey wrap. But we're still small. And I'm like, I can't ask you to spend all day with me and you don't have a hot meal.
Yeah.
Or a good, healthy, sustainable meal. I want to say this though, it was tough because we were going back and forth if we should go with Jamaican food, and it was like, for the culture, and I'm like, I was like I love Jamaican food, but it's dicey. Like to feed 150 people, especially in today's climate, vegan, vegetarian, gluten free, and I'm like, woo. But
If you
we
would
we
stop
went to
being
steak.
such an inclusive individual, and if you don't like Jamaican food, don't come. You ain't
Right.
gotta be here.
But we went the healthy route, still black owned, but it was a good debate and it was a tough decision. Tough. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This is gonna be. It's gonna be. First of all, I wish I had the skills to play the promo video in this thing. I don't know how to do that. I'm not gonna try because I'll blow something up. But last year, everybody said there was an incredible time. They got mega information, made great connections, and this year's gearing up to be even better. So I'm excited about what's going to happen. The conversations, the discussions, and the sessions are going to be fire. I mean, Chat GPT is super hot. Everybody's talking about it. How do you do it the right way though, so it doesn't lie on your resume?
Yeah.
Right. You got PR from the head of PR at Stars. Are you serious?
Relationships.
Relationships.
And
That's
I
actually
gotta,
the key in this environment. Period.
man, I gotta give all the love to Joe because, and I'm gonna try not to cry because I know I'm gonna cry when I interview him at the event. But we literally sat on the Black MBA board in 2014. And I was the secretary, and he worked with the LOT students, Leaders of Tomorrow students. So we didn't have a lot of interaction, but common courtesies. And he was doing his thing here, whatever. And then he went off to LA, started working for a marketing agency, doing that, and his brother was going through stuff, but figuring that out. And then he was working at AAMA.
Okay.
And then he just started working at Stars last year.
Okay.
And when I reached out to him, he was the first person. When I said this conference is on, he was the first person I reached out to. And because I was just excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then had to make some changes, some audibles. And he was like, look, I'm on board. But the thing I told him, I was like, hey, I'm doing this. I want to get you involved. Da, 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 da. He was like, me? I'm like, hell yeah, you have an amazing story. He was like, oh. And I'm like, I've been watching you. And it's just those little things of treating people right. Because he was thinking about doing a podcast. He reached out to me. I sent him some resources and just checking on people. Hey man, how's it going? Or commenting, hey, I believe in you. I'm proud of you. Cause he's making moves. And I'm just so happy for him. So, and then for him to come here, I think Monday or Tuesday, I was like dancing all day. Because like he was in, and that's the tricky thing about events. Like people will be in, but you got to finalize that programming. I had to change the schedule. I wanted him as a lunch speaker.
Yeah.
Had to move him to the VIP brunch. So it's like, well, why the change? And I was like, one day can make a big difference if you're traveling.
Yeah.
I mean, this is home for him, but still. And he was like, whatever's going to create the best event for you. And I'm like, cool. I do want to say this though, because the theme is knocking doors down. So if you're from Houston or a UGK fan, Pimp C has a song called Knocking Doors Down, talking about collaborating. So, we had to do it right. We, pay homage to Pimp C. I reached out to Bum Beast people. They left me on red, but it's all good though.
Come on, man.
But I am proud of myself because I feel like everyone's just an email away, and I at least had to try. I at least had to put it out there, And I was like, man, if I pull this off, I was like,
listen, you pulled it off. And we talked about this last year. Every year you gain clout, you gain credibility. This becomes, oh, you see who spoke here last year? This ain't no joke.
But trying to tell them.
You might want to come now.
Trying to tell them. And you know what? Do you listen to Trapital? Are you familiar with Trapital?
No.
So Trapital is a newsletter and a podcast, and it's like hip hop meets NBA, and it's led by Dan Runcie.
Okay.
And this past week, he interviewed someone that works with Coachella, and I forgot when Coachella started, but their first event, they only charged $50 for a ticket. Now they're charging 500 plus. I'm like, I was listening. I was like, this is gonna be marketing for the culture. This
I'm
is gonna
telling you,
be.
I believe 100%. Sometimes I think it's how it goes. Like you have some growth, incremental, but then you hit that inflection point and you
Yeah.
take off. So in 5 years, it's gonna be like you're gonna be at ask what Joel Osteen's church there.
Hey, listen. I think even with the current venue right now, I was talking to Tiffany the other day, and I'm like, I don't think they see the vision. That's always my thing. When someone tells me you don't see the vision, like
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what you've been doing in the past, but we are putting on a production. Because they're like, I don't know, like let me get back to you. Like we are putting on a show, okay? But I think my dream of all dreams is, I ain't gonna say no names, but for someone to give me a $5 million donation grant. If I get that kind of money, I am strongly looking for our own building. Strongly.
That'd be huge.
Because yes, there's a lot of event space, but trying to find the right thing for your event, it's tough. And then you're renting from another building or organization, so they have their rules, there's restrictions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I want our own building. So,
that's the vision.
Yeah, that's definitely the new vision.
I love that.
Yeah,
it's a power play. You know, Lamar and them got a building down there, and they're using the mess out of it.
Yeah,
and
that's the thing. And it just pay. I assume it would pay for itself. You know, events, creator studio, / co-working space. But definitely the event space. It's like, okay,
yeah,
you know, because you think about growth, and it's like, okay, well, do you want to be a big conference? Do you want to be a 3,000 person conference at a George R. Brown Center or convention center? I don't know. Maybe I don't like it sounds good in theory.
Yeah, it probably has a whole another universe of anxiety inducing triggers.
Because, let me tell you, just to get these 6 breakout sessions together was tough. You know, and then relationships are involved. And then logistics. I'm not trying to figure out a convention center right now.
Yeah, I hear that. At least you didn't get sabotaged this year.
I did not.
That's a good thing.
I did not. And I'm not in jail. Thank God. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I think that's still a driver. I was told that I couldn't put on that event last year.
You showed them.
I was like, oh, okay.
You showed them.
And we're going to show it again. Because what Drake said, sometimes you got to prove it's not a fluke.
Yeah, well, they going to know. This year too. I think, like I said, this is gonna be massive. And I think year 3 is gonna be whatever you want it to be. Proof of concept is here. HP, hopefully that just come through with the money.
Yeah.
You know, because you know what you're investing in, you know what's possible. And it's gonna be a great experience for them as well from the sponsorship side. So next year is gonna be like the sky's the limit. Whatever you want to do, it's going there.
Yeah, I think I had another huge company that wanted to come in as a title sponsor, but obviously it was too late. But it was funny because he didn't tell me title sponsor, but he had asked a question. And I was like, "Well, HP is our title sponsor," and the tone changed. And this is the key thing though, because when you get into these corporations, well, if it's good enough for HP, it's good enough for.
That's what I'm saying. This ain't no joke.
Well, if you can't give me 25,000, we could definitely take 20,000.
I can find room for that. Yeah.
So it's interesting, very, very interesting. And then I think another thing is just being in a position to work with friends, right? Like, local, like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I want you on a panel, da 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 da. So kind of giving back in a certain way. But it's been very interesting being on this side of the table. So not the speaker, just show up. But it's like, okay, does this make sense to bring this person in for a session, to create this panel, which I think is something I really enjoy doing, putting the panels together. To be like, okay, do these people fit? But there's definitely some small downside to this as well.
I believe that. I did one tiny event. It was supposed to be 12 people. I think I got 8 in 2018. That was a headache enough. We had there's one venue I wasn't trying to navigate. We're gonna do the welcome reception. We're gonna do the VIP lunch, and we're doing none of that stuff. There's no catering. It's only 6 hours. Was it 6? 4 hours.
Still.
4 hours. 4, 6, whatever. And it was fun, but yeah. But I also said I want to do another one, but I mean, I know there's a lot of challenges that you have to skillfully work through in order to make it happen at the level that you're doing.
Events are tough. I remember as a speaker, I've tried to do a 2-hour training or on something, and only one person showed up. I was like, well, I guess this is more of a consultation.
Got you at a good rate.
Yeah, because what, $20, $30 or whatever versus the 100 something. Events are tough. I don't care how small you want to plan something. You'd be like, oh, it's a big deal. Especially in person, online, it's a big deal.
Sure.
Because people are so fickle.
Yeah. And especially, like you said, if you're trying online, at least I could pop it on and, be in my casual clothes, but trying to get out to a venue and stuff like that, it makes it tricky.
AAMA, we do monthly webinars. I think this was last year. We had, 17 to 20 people register for the Zoom. No one showed up. The speaker didn't even show up. I said, I'm done with all of y'all. Like when I say I've been through stuff.
AAMA is going to be no more.
Depending on the day. Depending on the day. I'm like, the damn speaker didn't show up. Like,
that's I mean, I think it happens to everybody. I've had that. My first speaking gig, the only person who was there was the person who put on the event and her husband. I still got paid, thankfully, but I'm looking at this room and I'm like, let me go through my slides. I'm Donnie Bryan.
Yeah, people, it's a lot harder to talk to one person versus 10, right? Because it's you're right. Am I wasting my time telling you?
It's like, welcome everyone. I mean, welcome you.
But then you got the 10 people and it's like the blank stare. Does any of this make any sense? Can I just get a blink?
Yeah. And also when you have the more people in the room, the more likely somebody's going to be falling asleep.
It's tough. It is. I did some events at the Small Business Development Center.
Yeah.
Twice this year so far. And I'm like, does anything make sense? Like, do you hear the words coming?
I'm telling you. I also spoke at, I didn't put on the event, but I spoke at SBDC event. A couple of years in a row, they asked me back, but I think it stopped because like it's just I have a hard time with these super. I don't know, like the people who are they're just learning super basic business stuff, and you can find somebody else who could explain super basic stuff maybe better than me, at least for what my program was. But yeah, this is the only time I was able to tell someone this is great. I'm gonna say it because I remember it, but like I have this T-shirt brand, and we're not really doing that great. And he said, we even I was I got a rap group, a local rap group who they wear our stuff. I said, you gotta stop hanging out with sucker MCs, which which that went over really well. And the room let me laugh, and I said, that's when I decided I should be funny in public. Now I can't. Now I can't turn it off. But not that I'm actually funny, but I try nonstop.
That is
Sometimes it works.
good. That is really
Sometimes,
good.
sometimes it works. But anyway, but yeah, at those events, and it's just like we also were doing it at like 7. I think the session started at 7. Everyone had jobs or school, and then they went through everything, and then at the end of the day, they had to come through, and it was just hard. So, and then in the program we were supporting, we had like mentees, and my mentees didn't want to do no work, so ended up being tough. Anyway, I cut off what you were saying.
No, I was just events are tough. I mean, I give credit to anyone, the speaker as well as the organizer. It is really tough. Um, Trying to galvanize people, free or paid, say, oh, if it's paid, they'll have skin in the game. And that's not necessarily true.
I had monthly membership people paying up to $100 a month to get content from me. And when I did my live Q&A, more than once I was talking to one person, and many times nobody showed up. Like, you're paying $100 a month.
Yeah.
And this, I won't even meet with you for $100, but I mean, this is part of the program that I'm doing.
Right.
Which is the real reason that I stopped offering that program, because like I spend way too much time talking to 0 people or one person, and I can't justify the rates I want to charge if I'm talking to one person for 1 hour for I mean $100, if you think about it that way. It didn't make sense to me. So my wife was mad because she would like the money coming in every month. We seeing the money, but then I was like, I can't do it. I'm just spending a lot of time. And everybody, but also, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. People, yeah, if you're trying to get people galvanized and somehow organized to consume content in a live setting, online or not, it's difficult. And I've never tried anything on the scale of what you're doing. So super applause for that.
Yeah, thank you. I think, I don't know. It's weird. It's really interesting time right now. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting time. I want to say this just bluntly. Anyone who's watching live, I know there's a couple of people here. Tech, appreciate you. And you should consider coming to Marketing for the Culture Summit, not because it's a hard thing to do, but because it's going to be an amazing experience, an opportunity to connect with really amazing people, Black people primarily, entrepreneurial people, marketing people, PR people. You may find business partners, you might find clients, you may find vendors, you may find anything, friends, anything, affiliate partners, right? Joint venture partners, anything. And I mean, we haven't even started talking about the content, but the content is going to be fire as well. It's just going to be a good time.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning that. I know there was relationships created last year, and people, they're either friends or they're working together. I actually had 2 ladies post this week. I guess they're both here in Houston, or at least one of them came into town, and they posted, like, hey, we're together. And I was like, they met last year at the event, right? And then fast forward to this year, we haven't even had the event and connections are being made.
Wow.
And basically, for all of the speakers, breakout sessions, and panelists, we had a speaker call. Everyone introduced themselves. And I have Fallon Farrell. She's a managing partner of Black Restaurant Week, blackrestaurantweek.com. And then we have Stacy Reed, who does Facebook ads expert.
Yeah,
Those two have already linked up. They're already talking about doing business together
that's perfect.
because Black restaurants need help in marketing. And what's under that? Facebook ads. So I don't know what they're working on, but just the fact that we haven't even had the event and they're already having conversations on working together, it's a testament in itself.
Yeah, I mean, and it's multiplied many times over in the live setting, so it's gonna be worth. Like I said, I'm trying to rearrange my schedule. I'm not even speaking. I don't go to people's events that I don't speak in. I don't.
I understand.
I don't. But I'm trying. I'm trying to rearrange my schedule to get there. Like I was so mad I wasn't able to make it last year. And then every time I see the video, I'm like, I should be in some of these videos. And this year's gonna be, like I said, even my level of anxiety if I don't make it is I get a brand new bald spot on my head from the stress.
Oh, no,
So I
it's
really
gonna
want
be
to do it.
fun.
And
I hope
I
you
might be
can
able to. I
come.
might be able to do it.
It'll
But
be
it's going to
great.
be incredible one way or another, and I'm excited to hear, even if I can't make it. But I'm excited to hear the stories that come out of it.
Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, make sure you go to blackrestaurantweek.com so you can find the Black Restaurant Weeks to Black Restaurant Black restaurants to support.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, scheduling is interesting. Summer is always interesting for everybody. That's the other challenge, right? Well, I guess all year round is a challenge.
Yeah, but last year we did it the week leading into Mother's Day,
Yeah,
which was also like a graduation week, high school
yeah,
graduation week too.
yeah.
So we were hoping to do it in May, but June 1st was the available date. And it's like, more time? Yes, please. Yes, please. So yeah, it is tough. We booked this venue in November.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. But even then, that far advanced, it was still tough. And you just gotta hope for the best. And even now, like I'm seeing another conference, Render ATL, they're
yeah,
running ads same weekend as ours. I think last year, because last year I think we were both at the same venue, but last year was really tough because
oh,
I think it was May 5th through 7th. There was CultureCon in Atlanta,
yeah. That's right.
and then ours was May 11th or May 12th, and then after that was Render ATL, and we were all using like the same venue, the gathering spot, right?
Yeah,
Or some capacity of the brand. So dates, all of this is hard.
yeah.
All of
One of
this.
my friends is going to be speaking at Render now that you mention it, which doesn't have any pertinence to this conversation, but yeah. So the advertising for that, yeah. Geraldine says she's checking out the speakers. It's a good lineup. Yeah, it's going to be.
Hey.
Oh yeah. So Geraldine probably knows Tiffany.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's gonna be great. Look, you can decommit from the other commitment.
You and your family can come to the summit.
Yeah, bring everybody. There are gonna be some really great vegan food options.
But oh my God, yeah. Black owned, I would say 90% of our money, I don't know if 90%, but a good majority of our money is definitely going back to Black owned. The venue's not, it's United Way.
Okay.
Yeah, so but yeah, the reception, the brunch, a lot of the vendors we're trying to buy products from Black owned.
I appreciate that also because sometimes I feel or find that it's Black owned on the front and then the money gets one rotation and goes right out somewhere else. So I appreciate you continue, pushing further. We're gonna
I'm
go all the
trying.
way to the culture.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I probably I can't say 90, but maybe I'll say at least 70%. Just because the venue is a good portion.
Yeah, not much you could do about that.
Yeah. And there's little things here and there. Especially when it comes to buying swag. It's tough to shop Black owned. and I
Yeah.
made some purchases, swag, and I paid extra versus going through, assuming a white-owned vendor.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah,
The culture appreciates that.
they better.
For real.
Yeah.
Okay. So check this out. I think I've had your. I only plan on keeping you for an hour, so I've got 25% more of your time than I planned to deal. Is there any last thoughts you want to share about anything? Could be absolutely anything, including the real reason why you didn't go to jail this year or last year. You don't have to. I'm just being funny.
Right. Right.
Um, but anything you want to leave the people with, and then hopefully some people will watch the recording too. Hopefully.
Yeah, no, they will. I think the biggest thing, I'm just really pushing this, is believing yourself. Um, hey, Mark, believe in yourself. I think to be an entrepreneur, you have to have an insane amount of delusion, because when you're trusting your gut and everyone is telling you something different and telling you what worked for them, and it's like, I don't want to be a nurse. My parents are African. I don't want to work in healthcare. And because of that, I'm gonna go learn how to drive trucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, what do you know about trucks? I know it's gonna make you upset.
Michelle, what are you
No,
saying to me?
yeah,
That was
but no,
horribly
really,
offensive. Look, your delusion is the correct word, right?
yeah. I mean, you really have to believe in yourself. Like that meme when the dog is sitting there and the whole kitchen's on fire. Like that has to be you when you're in this business world, especially in today's climate.
Oh man,
Um,
yeah, no, that's true.
like I'm fine. As I burn slowly. It just tickles the bottom of my feet. No, but
Yeah,
you really have to believe in yourself. And then everyone talks about pivot, and I'm like, I just feel like you should pivot within your lane, right? So
mm,
so what does that look like? Okay, well, I'm a marketer, but maybe I need to work in a different industry. Maybe, like, one thing I'm really considering is getting my project manager certification after the
sure.
summit, right?
Yeah,
But I want to be a marketing project manager. I'm not trying to work at a construction site. It's like, so
right.
how can I stay within my capacity but still make small changes? And you got to believe in yourself as you're making those changes.
Yeah, that's yeah. That's the only way.
Yeah.
That's the only way. Let me ask you. This is just
Yeah.
have you, after doing two of your own big events. Maybe you could promote yourself as an event marketer or event project manager.
I've been thinking about it. I actually met this lady earlier this month, and one thing she said, so let me go back. In 2020, I started studying for the project manager certification, but I was struggling because I didn't feel like I had enough hours to even test. So
Sure.
then I stopped studying. So I met this lady earlier this year, and she's like, you should really use your nonprofit experience as those
Mm,
project manager hours. And which is a big difference, because at that time I was scratching a year in versus now I have 4 years in.
yeah.
We have the Black Marketers list that has been 3 years. The summit's going to
Yeah.
be 2.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely in a better position to at least have my hours, and then hopefully mentally prepare without, like, I'm studying, but I don't even know if I qualify
Yeah.
to submit the application
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
The belief factor once again comes in.
And timing is everything.
Yeah. True.
Timing is everything. Once again, going back to the sponsorships, I was emailing people. We had the event in May. As soon as we got that promo video in July, I was emailing people in and out of my network about sponsoring for this year. And I didn't get a sponsor until February.
Wow. It was the right
Yeah.
one though. As you said though, this coming year, if HP wants to get in, great. first right of refusal. But if not, everybody else will know. Last year's headline sponsor
Yeah.
was HP. Next year it could be whoever wants to come.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting because even with them, I'm hoping they'll, circle back, but obviously the price is going to go up, right?
Double.
Because anyone getting into events, in my opinion, the biggest expenses are food, venue, and video.
Yeah.
And me personally, I don't think you can really budget until you have the venue, until you lock in the venue.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna, I don't know, that's your budget, the center of your budget. Then you get into logistics, which affects video. Because if you have multiple breakout sessions or multiple rooms, then you need a video in every room. And then of course, people and food. So it's a lot. It's a lot.
That's why. Go ahead.
Oh, and yesterday's price is not today's price.
Better believe that. That's what I'm saying. Why everybody, not everybody, but I keep saying everybody, and I don't mean to be so generalistic, but there's a lot of people who are thinking about getting into events, but me included, to think about everything that it takes to logistically just to make it happen, let alone making it good, making it memorable. It keeps a lot of people out of the game, or people who actually do have an event, or they try and they fail in the process, or they put it on and it's a really horrible experience. All of these things require some knowledge from someone who's done it successfully
and
at your
delusional
level. So, just something for you to think about.
Yeah, and it's tough because even though I have a team, like I didn't want to do breakout sessions. I did not.
I actually remember you saying that.
I was like, we all need to be in one room looking at each other in the panel. And I'm like, no. And that's the thing, right? We talk about growth. And my team is like, oh, we should do this and this. And like everyone's excited. Everyone has this feeling. And I'm like, when I run these numbers and send that spreadsheet, oh, well, we like, and so we went from, because we're having 6 breakout sessions, and I think we were going to do 3 rooms, and then we consolidated to 2, because then we bring down the video budget, but we got to change the schedule. It's a lot, and we're only expecting 150 people.
How many could you fit hypothetically?
So the way they have the room section is really the 150 people. We could open it up to 200, but I was I'm going to be honest, I was concerned. Another thing is, got to keep in mind, I only want to sell 100 to 115 tickets because we got the speakers. They're free. The sponsors, they're pretty much semi-free.
Yeah.
Volunteers. So there's other people that's filling in those 30 to 40 slots.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
150. That's going to be a great event. 150 people, like, gives you that intimate feel. The last event I was at was right about 100 people. And it feels like you can touch everybody, which is great.
Yeah.
You have a chance to connect with anybody you want to connect with, and a chance to talk to a lot of different people. And when there's 1,000 people in the room, it's a different kind of energy, and it's fun, but you can feel lost in the sea of people.
Oh yeah. I mean, especially last year, I was going to events. It's like anytime I saw a Black person, I had to stop them. Hey, how are you?
And they were thinking the same thing. They were thinking the same thing. Listen, this is off topic. I was born in North Dakota. I think I probably told you that at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was visiting. This is a few years back. I was visiting, and my grandmother lives in a very small town. There's probably 1,000 people. I don't even know. It's a small town. And they sent me to go get pizza at Little Caesars or something, and there's a Black person there, and I instantly felt that's my relative, because there's no other Black people in town. Like, and I think he felt the same way. He said, "It's just you." I cannot believe it. Like,
Can I pinch? Can I touch you? Can I? Yeah, it's interesting. We got to do a better job supporting each other.
I
So
agree.
one thing, and this is tough. This is really tough. And I know I'm in the early stages, and I've already struggled with this. I'm really a meat and potatoes girl. I'm all about substance. I know you kind
Sure.
of talked about it earlier, like early business. I'm like, no, yeah, grow money. Where is the money? How can I make the money? How can I find the money?
Yeah.
And I don't want to be one of those events that is celebrity focused,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Where you have these celebrities, they're great at what they do, but I don't know. It's just like they're making you feel good. Keep trying. You, no, like if you weren't an actress, would you be able to raise $50 million? Like,
It's real.
you know,
Yeah. I feel the same way. I feel the same way. When I become a celebrity, I probably feel differently. But but and I get it. You bring celebrities in because they bring the people in, but and to make it a special kind of event. But I'd rather have. I came here to connect with people and to learn something that will make my business more successful, make my clients more
yeah.
successful, make me more successful. Not, I mean, I don't know if I need to see. I mean, it's also different if I got to hang out with LeBron James, like hang out with, versus seeing him on
Right.
the stage. Like I can watch him on ESPN, and I don't know what he would do for me. Like he's an entrepreneur. Sure, he is. Actually, is right. But if he's not breaking down how Donnie Bryant can become a billionaire like
Right.
LeBron James in a way that I can actually access.
And I mean, there's a lot of people, and I think this is what I want the summit to be moving forward. There's a lot of people that are very successful in their own right without a million followers. Ooh, celebrity encouragement is not education, but have its place. That's good.
It's
That's
true.
good.
It's
Thank you.
true.
Last year, Monty Weaver spoke on the monetized live stream panel,
Yes.
and this brother's killing it on Amazon.
Is he?
Amazon Live, like what? Like, and that's the thing. Like, we'll focus so much on what's sexy, and we'll be on IG Live. IG ain't paying for reels no more. It was all
Yeah, on Amazon.
a year ago.
Yeah. 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 I
But
mean,
it's like, possibly an untapped market, and maybe even untapped amongst Black creators.
for sure.
But this brother's killing it on Amazon, and then it makes so much sense because it's okay. You're doing Amazon Live. These brands are sending you products that you're not paying for, and they're probably paying you. And then you have the Amazon affiliate link, and you had a new baby. Pull on them heartstrings. Not, like,
That's perfect. It's perfect. And you're in an environment where people are thinking about buying things. I definitely don't go to Instagram to think about buying things,
right.
or Facebook to think about buying things, or hiring people.
And I want to. That's what I want to do. I just want to put people on this platform. They're killing it in their own right, but come share this knowledge so other people can tap in. And everything's not going to be for you, but you're going to learn something. You are going to be exposed. Oh, great. Great guy. Just a wealth of knowledge. Wealth of knowledge. So those are the things that I want to do and bring forth when it comes to the summit.
Yeah, it's gonna be
And
great.
I just want to stay true to that.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. I'll just put it out there though that when someone wants to hand you $1 million sponsorship check, you have to stay true still.
Gotta stay true. I gotta stay true. I had a photographer call me, and he was like, "Oh, I saw you're doing the summit." I was like, he was talking. I was like, "Are you Black?" He's like, yes, I am. Okay. Well, yeah. So we are. And like I wasn't 100% sure. He bust out laughing. He's like, "Oh, you're very direct." I was like,
Yeah.
"Cause
Who has time for other stuff? I'm gonna be direct. But yeah, I mean yeah. It'll be great. You can have that's what they do. I say that's what they do. I don't want to say they. Again, I'm now changing what I'm saying, but and compromise is over strong word too. The diversity panels that are not that diverse. It's weird, but it's common.
listen, I struggle with that. Because AAMA has had white speakers doing our webinars, and I get a lot of shit for that. And I'm like, well, they volunteered. You did it. So, right.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. But the second thing is there's a couple of Hispanic cats that I know, and I was thinking about them, but I wasn't like 100% sure on where they would fit. And it wasn't about race, it was more about personality. But my thing is like everyone is welcome. We're just centered around blackness.
Yeah.
And I think because in society we have grown up in this predominantly white society from a historical and a leadership standpoint, we yes, I would love to connect with you as well. We just have to assimilate, right? But how many white people or non-black or colored people do you know that make it a point to go out of their let me back up. How many white people do you know outside of hip hop culture make it a point to assimilate to black culture,
It's a very small number.
right? Professional networking, or whatever the case may be. Um, so yeah, so we're gonna be up in there, 99% black, um, trying to learn just like they're learning and doing, etc. So, and my thing is, it's like, okay, well, if we are the culture, all things run through us, especially marketing wise.
Yeah.
What don't you want to come learn what we're doing and thinking and how we operate?
You would think.
You would think.
There's other psychological barriers in place, I think. It's cool. We gonna get the money.
Yeah.
The bag keeps getting bigger.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, Michelle, I appreciate you hanging out with me, dropping many gems. You said this would be the one. You're so funny. Many gems and encouragement to be crazy. If you're gonna be an entrepreneur, you gotta be full crazy. At least you gotta be willing to be crazy a good percentage of the time.
Yes.
Right. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. But I appreciate this. It's been a great time. I want to tell, again, all the listeners on the live or on the recording, please at least consider Marketing for the Culture Summit. You said it's May 31st? Is that 31 days in May? I don't even know.
Yes. Wednesday, May 31st.
June 1st and 2nd, depending on which ticket you buy, in Houston. You know you want to be in Houston in June. It's going to be knocking down the doors. It's going to be an incredible experience. Yes. And I just check out, the link is there and on the screen. I think if you search for it, it also pops up. Check it out. And actually, for one, they said the general admission is $199.
Correct.
That's crazy. That's a crazy low price. And even the VIP at $500 is, I mean, that's a low price. Let's be real. That's a low price. It's an insanely affordable relative to what other people are charging. This is going to be good. And all meat and potatoes.
Yes, substance.
We have actionable information to help you take your business or your career to the next level. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, this was fun. Had a good time.
I'm glad. Thank you for hanging out. And thank you for allowing me to bump us back a week because we were supposed to talk last week.
Yeah, it's all good. All good.
And, I think it was the last, maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Whatever. Well, thank you for working with me. And that'll be it for today. So thanks again. everybody, check out mftcsummit.com. Connect with Michelle also. I think Geraldine says she's going to. Hopefully she does. She's always sharing insightful things. And the African American Marketing Association also, free membership there. Free membership. If you
For
have
now.
any interest in getting in there before Michelle pulls the plug. Look, I enjoy it. So anyway, y'all have a great day, and we'll connect wherever we connect.